Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Viktor Gyokeres told to snub Man United transfer despite seeing agreement reached. Manchester United are just one of the clubs hoping to snap up Viktor Gyokeres when the sought-after striker departs Sporting Lisbon in the summer transfer window. Viktor Gyokeres should reject a reunion with Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. That's the verdict of Anders Limpar, who says the Swede should instead join Arsenal in the upcoming transfer window. Gyokeres, 26, has been targeted by a host of top European clubs during another remarkable campaign where he has netted 40 times in 41 games. Among those linked are United, who are now managed by Gyokeres' former boss at Sporting Lisbon. It emerged at the start of the week that Gyokeres has been given the green light to move at the end of the season by his current club, who have reached an agreement to sell him for €60 to €70 million. £50.2 million to £58.5 million is some far lower than the release clause which is in the striker's contract. With United struggling to score goals regularly in the Premier League, Amorim would love to reunite with Gyokeres at Old Trafford. But Limpar reckons the Red Devils' poor season is reason enough for Gyokeres to look elsewhere, particularly as the likes of Arsenal and other clubs who will play in next season's Champions League will also be in the mix to sign him. He told Svea Casino, "Arsenal were struggling for a long time in the Premier League and Champions League before turning things around. Manchester United are now in one of their worst periods in their own history. Manchester United would be a bad move for Viktor Gyokeres. They are struggling in every department, and when it comes to winning games and trying to win trophies, he should play for a team like Arsenal." The Gunners, like United, are expected to spend big on a new striker at the end of the season. They were heavily linked with Gyokeres last summer but have since been linked with the likes of Benjamin Sesko and Alexander Isak. Isak is a man in demand after his exploits with Newcastle over the last 18 months. But Limpar reckons Gyokeres is the one striker Arsenal should pursue. He added, "Alexander Isak is playing the best football of his life, and although I'm not in a position to say that Arsenal need to sign a striker, it might happen this summer. Arsenal have Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. There are good players there. We can't forget that they are unbelievably good players that have been unfortunate with injuries." Looking elsewhere, there's Viktor Gyokeres, who is a fantastic goal scorer, Isak, who is also amazing, and Ollie Watkins at Aston Villa. As a Swede and former Arsenal player, seeing Gyokeres or Isak at Arsenal would give me a warm feeling, but it's up to the club. All things considered, Arsenal should sign Gyokeres. Isak is settled and is building a legacy. Gyokeres is at Sporting, and there are probably 7 or 8 Premier League teams who are a better side. Utd Jadon Sancho has told his agent he wants to join European club next season. Desire is growing daily. There has been a lot of talk recently over what the future will look like for Jadon Sancho when his loan at Chelsea comes to an end. The Blues have an obligation to sign the winger when his season-long spell from Manchester United comes to an end. However, there is now less optimism over whether that option will be taken. Chelsea can pay £5 million to opt out of the Sancho deal, a scenario which could easily play out based on the lack of goals and assists he has been providing in recent months. All options are on the table though, including signing and selling Sancho in the same summer as they look to elsewhere for the future at Stamford Bridge. Jadon Sancho once moved to Borussia Dortmund. Chelsea are desperate to sign a new winger, although this may not come at the expense of Sancho, with the situation regarding Mykhailo Mudryk still very much unclear. Where the player wants to play his football could have an impact on proceedings too, and a report from Bild has stated that he has a growing ambition to join another side for next season. They claim that he is discussing with his agents about a return to Borussia Dortmund, where he has played arguably the best football of his career. The England international was loaned there last season following his nightmare campaign at Manchester United and showed enough for the Blues to take a punt on him this season. Chelsea players and owners' thoughts on Sancho. By all accounts, Sancho has been popular amongst his teammates since making the move to Stamford Bridge on deadline day of the summer transfer window. He has also acted as a mentor for the likes of Josh Achimpong and Tariq George, who have made their marks as first-team players this season. Chiefs at the club don't seem to hold the same opinion though, with them unhappy with Sancho's impact and doing due diligence on a number of targets to potentially replace him. One of those is Rafael Leo, who has been a target of the club for a number of years but is perhaps more achievable to sign now than ever before. Chelsea's Reece James definitely made his mark on his return to the England squad. On his first start for England since 2022, Chelsea captain Reece James helped his country record a 3-0 home win over Latvia on Monday night in a World Cup qualifier. James scored an incredible free kick against Latvia to notch his first England goal. During this March international break, James was called up by England for the first time since 2023. His late cameo in last week's 2-0 victory over Albania was followed up by the entire 90 minutes and a fantastic performance versus Latvia. Morgan Rogers not surprised by Reece James' free kick after excellence in training. Aston Villa playmaker Morgan Rogers, who made his first ever England start in the Latvia victory, wasn't surprised to see international teammate James fire a free kick into the top corner. Monchi touted for Aston Villa exit as best in world, claim made after Rashford and Asensio deals. Italian giants are urged to try to lure Villa's president of football operations Monchi away from the club. Italian giants Juventus have been urged to try to lure Monchi away from Aston Villa. Monchi has played a huge part in helping Unai Emery transform Villa, overseeing some very impressive transfer business since becoming president of football operations at Villa Park. He has landed the likes of Pau Torres, Yuri Tielemans, and Morgan Rogers for Emery during previous transfer windows, and during the January transfer window he managed to get high-profile loan deals for Marcus Rashford from Manchester United and Marco Asensio from Paris Saint-Germain over the line. Both Rashford and Asensio have since helped Villa reach the quarter-finals of the Champions League and FA Cup and battle to once again finish in the top 4 in the Premier League. It's a very different story in Turin, with Juventus having sacked their manager Thiago Motta on Sunday and replaced him with Igor Tudor. And former Italy international Antonio Cassano also thinks the Serie A club must change their sporting director, as he criticized Cristiano Giuntoli in the wake of Motta's departure. Speaking on Viva el Football via Arianapoli, he said, "For many years Juventus won because they spent as much as they wanted. Now they can't spend as much as they want, so they have to go and get Monchi from Aston Villa because he's the best director in the world." Featuring a retro club badge, this hoodie is still available in all men's sizes on the club store, which describes the item by saying "relax in style and comfort." Featuring the iconic club crest, this is an essential item for fans of all ages. This item is also available in Clearout for both men and women, though only in sizes XL and S for women. Limited stock left. By Navy here and Clearout here. Aston Villa 150 Years in Pictures book, £25. The first of 2 books available to purchase in Villa's 150th season. It describes the picture book as a way to celebrate the storied history of Aston Villa and their illustrious history spanning a century and a half with this premium quality photo book. By here. Aston Villa 150 Years book volume 2, £40. The long-awaited second volume moves Aston Villa's remarkable story forward, with the ups and downs between 1950 and 2024 given the same care and attention as the first volume. Even more pin-sharp images, artifacts, and stories are featured alongside standout interviews with some of the players and managers that make this club so great. By here. Aston Villa 150-year anniversary polo shirt, white, £30. Represent your club wherever you go. Suitable for matchday and casual wear, the polo is perfect for fans of all ages. This item is available in all sizes but XS on the club store, and is also available for kids in Clearout at a higher price of £35. By the men's polo here. And Amorim brutally plots 11-player clear-out as Man United prepare to bin off £380 million worth of signings. Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are ready to show as many as 11 players the door at Old Trafford this summer in an effort to cut costs and aid their rebuilding plans. And with several top signings of their own having also been identified. The Portuguese coach took charge of Manchester United in November as the successor to Erik ten Hag and the first managerial appointment of the Ineos era at Old Trafford. However, Amorim's impact so far has been minimal, and the Red Devils still languishing in the same 13th position in the Premier League table in which he inherited them. With the club now destined to finish in the bottom half of the table for the first time since 1990. Both minority shareholder Ratcliffe and boss Amorim have quickly realized a major rebuilding job is required at Old Trafford, both to catapult the club back towards challenging for major honours and to help bring the coach's 3-4-2-1 formation to life. As a result, the club are gearing up for what could be a historical summer on the transfer front. However, with Ratcliffe also painfully aware that United need to keep a careful eye on the books to ensure they are not in breach of the Premier League's strict profit and sustainability rules, PSR. A number of high-profile stars are also now set to be shown the door. Per the Manchester Evening News, United plan to offload 10 names this summer, with the exodus being led by 3 wingers in the homegrown Marcus Rashford, together with £85 million Utd Jadon Sancho, who cost £73 million. Midfielder Casemiro, a £70 million signing from Real Madrid in summer 2023, will also finally move on, with Ratcliffe having made it a priority to shift his £350,000 a week wages off the books. In addition, defenders Victor Lindelof, £29 million, Luke Shaw, £30 million, and Tyrell Malacia, £13 million, are all likely to leave, the former as a free agent at the end of his contract. Christian Eriksen will also leave on a free, while both Tom Heaton and Johnny Evans are expected to retire upon their releases too. Sources have also indicated to Team Talk that Harry Maguire, despite his qualities and determination having impressed Amorim since his arrival, also remains up for sale, with the Portuguese seeking a buyer for the £80 million star and seeking a defender better suited to his 3-man defensive line. Man United planning big investment with multiple signings planned. Were all 11 players to leave, United would be preparing to waive off some £380 million worth of signings, with their incoming fees likely to result in major losses for the club. However, with millions saved off the wage bill in the process, Ratcliffe will see the departures as a necessary gain to help with the rebuilding plans of their own. To that end, Amorim would like to sign a new centre-half, a right-sided wing-back, at least one central midfielder, another number 10 who is comfortable drifting out wide.